Hey, what's going on? Coach Hapa here from the DJCoach.com, and this is part two of our video series around time management. And in part one, what we covered was we did a time audit. So we looked at time being the most valuable resource that we have, and that it is finite, that we only have 168 hours that we're given, 24 hours a day. And so we need to know, how are we spending that time? And this is very critical. And this is not just for only creative people or DJs like myself, but this also applies to really anybody who is trying to manage time and trying to get more efficient with their lives. So specifically though, when it comes to entrepreneurs, I do find that this is sometimes a bit challenging because you're juggling a whole bunch of things. Or maybe you already work a full-time job and you're trying to get that side hustle off the ground, trying to put more effort into that wedding planning business, into that photography business. That's something then that we've got to figure out, how are we going to get the time? We got to take it from somewhere. So after we've done the audit and now we've done a before and after, we have a plan on how we want to spend that time moving forward. Now, the next step is we're going to bring this into Google Calendar. And before we do, I just want to explain something real quick. What I'm about to show you is something that is a remixed version of time blocking. And there is a pretty significant difference here in the sense that this was explained to me as value-based scheduling. And it's exactly what it sounds like. And I just really want to take you down a really quick story, because in 2019, I was burning the candle at both ends, is what they say, right? I was running a full-time morning radio show. I was hosting a 4-hour radio show in the morning. I was leaving my house at 5 a.m. Actually, a little bit earlier than that, 4:30 a.m. I was leaving my house to go to the studio. I'd record from 6 to 10 was my morning show. After that, I would have interviews with artists. After that, I then headed to my DJ school that I was running at the time, handling a variety of different tasks. And that was, essentially from noon or 1 p.m. On down to, 7, 8 o'clock. And then I would teach a class. And then after I taught a class, there'd be some nights where I'd go out and DJ to then get home at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and try to do it all over again. And I got the nickname Hustle Simmons, like Russell Simmons, but with the hustle. And I wore that like a badge of honor. I did. Now, when I look back on it, I was burning myself out. And I really did experience burnout. And so in 2019, I was having a phone call with a friend. And that whole thing of, hey, how's it going? Oh, everything is good. He's like, I don't know. Something just seems off. You sound like you're burnt out. It's like, well, now that I think about it, yeah, I got this going on, this going on. I should be so happy. I'm blessed. I have all these things going on. But I'm not living efficiently. I'm burning out. I don't even have space to enjoy this. At the time, also, I had 2 kids and a wife at home. So to try to add on top of that, my family responsibilities, I just felt like I was failing in every category. And right now I might be speaking to you and you might be feeling that same type of way. My hope is that today we're able to help you get your head above water, able to help give you a bit of a strategy so that you can see a bit further than where you're currently looking now. And this literally changed my life. And so I'm happy to be able to share this with you right now. This is value-based scheduling. This is the remix of value-based scheduling. And so let me just kind of give you insight as to how this looks on my side. So let's go ahead and share my screen here so you can see. I'm going to get rid of my actual calendars. I'm going to just be blank for a minute here. We'll get rid of that too. Okay. So the way that this works is you start by putting in what are called your big rocks. Your big rocks, imagine having a jar. And if I gave you big rocks, smaller rocks, and sand, right? But the sand was the stuff that was closer. That maybe the littler rocks, the smaller rocks are kind of within arm's reach, but the bigger rocks are a bit further away. If you just start putting in whatever is closest, and whatever is most convenient, you might put in 1 or 2 big rocks, but you'll definitely not have enough room for all of those big rocks that you have. Your big rocks are the things that hold the most amount of value to you. So for myself, family, faith, these are things that are important to me. My career is also important to me, but my family and my faith, that's super important. My health, also really important, especially at the stage of life that I'm in right now. I've got to be mindful of what I put into my body. I've got to be mindful of what I do with my body. So that needs to be a priority. So then you start to look at your big rocks and then you start to fill things in. So let's just say I'm going to start with a brand new calendar. So let's just add a calendar and create a new calendar. And in this new calendar, there we go. In this new calendar, I'm going to call this new value based scheduling calendar. All right. And the reason why I like doing this in Google Calendar is because we can actually have multiple of these calendars. So right here, this is the one that we're going to do. And we can actually make this to just display this one only. So I just hit it. Let me do this. And I can display only this. I'm in settings right now, so let me go back out. Okay, so now all I can see is just this one. So that's it. Display this only. So now we start to fill this in. So it's like, all right, well, what time do you wake up? Or what time do you want to wake up? All right, I want to wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. All right, great. And what do you want to do the first thing in the morning that you want to do? Okay, I want to pray and meditate, or I want to work out, or I want to do both of those things. Okay, based off of my spreadsheet that I had, how often do I want to work out? 3 times a week for an hour. Okay, so that's going to be, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm going to start to put that in, and maybe that's Monday, and I'm going to go ahead and set this up, which this is in the past. But you get the idea, and then I start to go fill this in. So I can say workout. And the nice thing here is this is what I'm suggesting. I can also repeat things. Many of you know how to use Google Calendar, so I'm not going to go into super depth about how to do this. But the idea is that you start putting in the things that matter to you first. That's a big part of it. Now, on the custom side, I can come in here and actually then play with this. So I could say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, once a week, and never. Cool. So now that's going to repeat. There we go. So we've got the workout. Now, the other thing that I started to do was I started to color code. Orange was work, purple was family, blue was personal. And when I first looked at it, it was a lot of orange. I was like, no, that can't be right. Let me readjust things. Then I got a good amount of purple, but didn't have enough blue. So then it didn't feel like I had enough time that I was giving back to myself. And so here's what I want to show you. This is what my current calendar looks like. As you might be able to see here, Fridays, I take off on Friday. Same thing with Saturday afternoons, take off on Saturday afternoons, and Sunday is, I'm at church most of the time, but there's also time for family there. I try to make it home for dinner almost every night, but it's not necessarily every night. On certain nights, I have different things that I've accounted for. You can see that there's a couple of slots that are open in here, but for the most part, like I've really started to fill this in and start to understand how I'm actually spending my time. This has given me so much peace to be able to have this. And as an entrepreneur, this really becomes my boss in a lot of ways. Because I'm looking at this and like, well, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Oh, well, right now is a content block. So I should be recording some content right now. Or right now is actually an admin block. So I should be responding back to some emails. I should be, putting together a proposal. I should be making a phone call. Like that's what that time is. What should I be doing right now? Oh, right now is actually a purple block. This is a family time block. You shouldn't be doing any work right now. You should be with your family. And the other secret to this, not really quite a secret, but I think it's a tip to really make this successful, is you've got to share this with the people that are around you. Anybody else who's a stakeholder, my wife, my kids, the people that I work with, they understand what my schedule is so that nobody is hitting me up on a Friday being like, hey, we need this. I don't work on a Friday. I work in the very beginning of the morning to just try to get a few things done and get those things out in case I need to put out some fires. But outside of that, I'm not taking a meeting on Fridays. Now, of course, the other side of this is that there's exceptions to the rule. I still travel a decent amount. So even for me right now, I'm actually getting ready to get on a plane tomorrow. So that's going to mess up certain things. Certain things that I had planned, like for my blocks, those get mixed around. But for the most part, I have something to go off of. And again, I got to tell you, this gave me so much peace to be able to do this. Now, the last thing that I'll point out here is when it comes to this, something that I like to do is I have two calendars. So I have my value based calendar, which is this, and then I also have the actual calendar. So when I look at the actual calendar, that is all of the meetings that have actually been booked. Anything that I have is on that green one. So if you are somebody that uses something like TidyCal or Calendly or any one of these calendar services that schedules things, time blocking will need to happen on a separate calendar, and then your actual calendar will need to be what you write things to and what Calendly looks for conflicts on. Because if it looks for conflicts on your time blocking calendar, the whole thing is going to be in conflict, right? So you need to be able to have a little bit of distinction. So for me, it's nice because inside of Google Calendar, I can kind of turn things on and off however I want. I also have it on my phone, so I know wherever I'm at on the go, I've got that. Now, question might be, could you do this with other calendar apps? Absolutely. You could do this with iCal, just the same. Personally, I like Google Calendar just because I sometimes migrate between different types of devices, Windows, like a PC to a Mac, or an Android phone to an iPhone or an iPad. So I like to be able to have that accessible wherever I'm at. But yes, that is the concept. I hope you found this helpful. If you want more tips and insight and coaching or anything like that, please do not hesitate to reach out. I actually would love to hear how this may have benefited you. So either leave a comment below, message me. We'll go ahead and put how to get in touch with me here. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if this has impacted you in any type of way. And of course, any other tweaks and suggestions that you might have when it comes to this, maybe something that you do slightly differently. I would love to hear about all of that too. I'll see you next time.